The rain came down in cold needles, drumming on the corrugated roof of the abandoned tram depot like impatient fingers on a metal coffin. Water sluiced through broken skylights in silver sheets, pooling around the rusted skeletons of old trams that hadn't moved since the wall was still standing. Somewhere deeper in the building a loose shutter banged in the wind, a slow, arrhythmic heartbeat. Lena stood beneath the single bulb that still worked, if worked was the word for the way it swung from its frayed cord, flickering between sickly yellow and nothing at all. Each swing painted the concrete walls with moving shadows that looked like memories trying to crawl back into the light. Her coat dripped steadily, the hem had soaked through hours ago. One hand pressed hard against her left side, just below the ribs. Blood seeped warm between her fingers, thicker than the rain, darker. She could feel her pulse in the wound, a second, smaller heart trying to escape. Across from her, 10 meters of cracked floor and 23 years of silence away, stood the man she had once known better than her own reflection. He hadn't aged the way people do in photographs, he had eroded. Cheekbones sharper, eyes deeper set, the scar across his left cheek now a pale lightning bolt against skin gone the color of old ash. The collar of his old military greatcoat was turned up against a chill that lived only in him. In his gloved hands he held a small wooden box no larger than a cigarette pack, turning it over and over as if the grain might rearrange itself into forgiveness. "You're late," Lena said. Her voice came out steadier than she felt. The pain helped, a bright wire pulled tight through her chest. He didn't answer immediately. He was listening to something she couldn't hear, maybe the rain, maybe ghosts. When he finally spoke, the Baltic vowels were still there, softened by decades abroad but never quite tamed. "I almost didn't come," he said. "I sat in the car for 40 minutes with the engine running. Told myself the past had finally shut up." "It never shuts up," she answered. "It just waits until you're alone in the dark, then starts whispering your real name." The bulb swung again. For an instant the scar caught the light and flared. He flinched as though the light itself had struck him. "You kept the photographs," he said. "Not a question. I kept everything." She took one careful step forward. The movement tore at the wound and she tasted iron at the back of her throat. "The negatives. The letters you wrote in purple ink because black felt too honest. The list of names you burned in that flat in Riga in '92 while I watched through the keyhole. All of it." He opened the box. The hinges gave a small, animal creak. Inside, wrapped in yellowed oil paper, lay a single roll of undeveloped 35mm film. 24 frames. Enough light trapped in silver halide to bring down governments and finish what was left of 2 lives. "This is the last one," he said, so quietly the rain almost stole the words. "The only copy left in the world." Lena's breath clouded between them, hanging like a ghost that hadn't decided whether to speak. "You could have destroyed it," she said. "I tried." The admission seemed to cost him something physical. His shoulders dropped a fraction. 3 times. Once in Prague, once in Lisbon, once in a motel outside Montreal. Each time I stood over the sink with the lighter." He stopped, swallowed. "I saw your face instead of the flames. Every time." She took another step. The puddle at her feet bloomed darker. She wasn't sure if it was rainwater or her own blood spreading. The distance between them was now less than the length of a grave. "Give it to me, Mikhail." His name in her mouth sounded like a verdict. He looked at her. Then, really looked, the way he used to when they were young and believed history could be rewritten with the right lens and enough courage. The bulb flickered violently, threatening to abandon them entirely. He lifted the roll from its paper nest. For a moment he held it up between thumb and forefinger, a tiny black cylinder catching what little light remained, and Lena understood he was weighing more than 36 grams of plastic and emulsion. He was weighing the version of himself that had once believed in something. Then he placed it in her outstretched palm and closed her blood-slick fingers over it himself. His gloves were cold, the film was colder. "It's done," he whispered. "No," she said, slipping the roll into the inside pocket of her coat, right against the skin where her heart still managed to beat despite everything. "It's just beginning." The bulb gave a final pop, a small, defeated sound, and died. Darkness swallowed the depot whole. In that absolute black she heard him exhale, relief or regret, impossible to separate. Then the scrape of his boots retreating across wet concrete, slow at first, then faster, until the rain and the wind and the years took him entirely. Lena stayed beneath the dead light, bleeding quietly into the night, holding 24 frames that would develop into proof or into ruin. Maybe both. Outside, Thunder rolled across the city like distant artillery that had never quite learned how to stop.